Hello, good evening. Today I'd like to speak to you all about being lonely, feeling alone, and loneliness. So, being alone, feeling lonely, and loneliness are all different things that happens to various people. They can mean different things in different settings, and so you can have people that are in a crowd, or you can have people that are around lots of other people. However, they may still feel lonely. You can also have people that may be in a relationship and feel very much alone. So, being lonely and going through loneliness isn't always necessarily due to the physical amount of people around you. One of the suggestions that I would like to make is don't compare yourself to other people. Don't assume that everybody's having fun. Don't assume that everybody has more friends than you. And also don't compare your private life with people's public life. And what I mean by that is don't compare what you know to be going on in your life with what you see on the outside of other people, because sometimes people can make out that they're having a great time, that they're really happy, they're really popular, they're doing all the things they want to do, but behind the scenes it may be a different story. And behind the scenes it may be a lot more similar to what your life looks like. So what I would say is don't compare yourself to other people, and don't assume that everybody is having more fun than you, because a lot of time that isn't the case. Um, Sometimes people can feel lonely because they they're under the impression that they don't fit in anywhere, and sometimes that can be our mistake. Sometimes trying to fit in with other people can be what the problem is. Sometimes instead of trying to fit in, maybe perhaps you should find your community. Maybe you should find the type of people that like to be around you. So a lot of the time, instead of trying to fit in, you can try and find people that are like-minded to you. So also as well, what I will say is don't be too hard on yourself. Don't feel like you're the only person that don't feel like you're the only person not having as much fun as everybody, because sometimes that's just an illusion. Just because somebody's making a lot of noise and they're around a lot of people, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're having more fun than you. So what I will say is don't be hard on yourself and assume that everybody's having a great life and you're not. We also need to appreciate quality friends. If you're in the live, please like my live. I'm trying to build up my watch hours by doing these little talks in the evenings. So please like the live. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. So what we sometimes underestimate is having one good friend is probably worth 4, 5, 10 bad friends. So having hi backup dancer, thank you for coming joining my live. So sometimes what we underestimate is the fact that one one good friend can be worth 10 terrible friends. So value the friends that you do have, value the people that are around you. What? Okay. Hi to Jazza80 and hello to Akshay. I don't really understand what your comment means. Maybe you want to clarify a bit further. But yeah, thank you for joining my live, and please like the live. Yeah, so what I will say is don't be too hard on yourself. Value the friends that you do have around you. So even if you have one good friend, that is worth 10 really bad friends. So make sure you appreciate the people that are around you. Um, don't be hard on yourself. Sometimes we need to look at the cause of loneliness. Sometimes the cause of loneliness may be low self-esteem. It may be low self-esteem, or it may be, sorry, yeah, You know something? I need a moderator in this life. Okay, so sometimes we need to look at the root of loneliness. Sometimes it could be low self esteem. It could be sometimes we can look inwards too much. So sometimes we can look within ourselves and think about how things affect us, and we can think about, the things that we don't have. So sometimes just being so self sometimes just being so self-seeking can backfire and make us feel very, very, very down. 1 minute, let me do something. Okay, so I do need a moderator in the live. We've got a few attention seeking people, and I will not be paying you any more attention. I'll probably just remove you or report your comment. Thank you. So as I was saying, sometimes we do need to look at the root of our loneliness. Sometimes it can be low self esteem. Sometimes it's because we are just inward looking. Sometimes it can be because we're not willing to appreciate what's around us. Sometimes it's because maybe PTSD, or it could be because of it could be just because of bad experiences. One of the things we can do when we are feeling lonely is to reach out to other people. One of the things definitely that we can do is to try and be a positive influence to the people around us. Some people might decide to volunteer, which is quite helpful. Some people might decide to take up a hobby, or some people might just decide to do something very constructive. I think some people, when they feel lonely, it can be, I think sometimes it can make you vulnerable, and it can make you open to outside influences that aren't very healthy. If you're in the live, please like the live. Thank you for joining. But yeah, I think one of the disadvantages of feeling lonely is that you're vulnerable to people that may not have your best interest at heart. I think another disadvantage can also be losing yourself. So sometimes people just want to fit in to a crowd, but you may not necessarily need to fit in. What you can do is just try and find a community that you feel that you belong to. So sometimes instead of trying to fit into the group that you're running with at the moment, you may need to just go away and look for another group, or you may need to go away and make friends with different people. Um, if you are lonely, having friends doesn't always fix that. Sometimes people can't fix any lonely issues that you may have. You may have a best friend, and you may feel like they don't pay you as much attention as they used to, or they're not as around you as much as they could be. But maybe you just need to make a couple more friends so you're not always relying on the same people. Um, one of the good things sometimes, one of the positives that can come out of being lonely is that you can learn to enjoy your own company. So, learning to enjoy your own company can be a sign of great contentment, and it can be a sign of confidence in who you are. Being confident in yourself and being content in yourself can actually draw friends to you. So, that in itself can attract people to you in becoming friends. Ironically, the more desperate we can behave, the less likely it is that we're able to make friends. Okay, so my top few tips for people that feel lonely or who feel that they're alone is: number one, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't feel like everybody is out there having fun and nobody ever feels lonely, because we all feel like that at times. and it's just part of life. So don't be too hard on yourself, and wonder why you do feel the way you do, because it's a very common experience to humanity. Also, as well, what's really important is don't compare your private life to people's public life. So sometimes what people portray in public is completely different to what's going on in private. So don't assume that what you're going through privately is completely different to what other people may be going through. Please like my live. I'm trying to make up my watch hours, so please like my live if you can, and thank you for joining. Um, don't be hard on yourself. Everybody feels lonely sometimes. People can feel like they're alone. Sometimes you can feel very much alone when you're around other people. You can feel alone when you're in a relationship. All these things are normal, so don't be too hard on yourself. And also as well, you need to look up what is what what is the root cause of feeling lonely. Like, what is actually the underlying issue? Could it be that you're feeling lonely because you're always comparing yourself to other people? Sometimes that can be an issue. If you're always comparing yourself to other people, that can lead you to become dissatisfied with yourself in life and lead you to feeling lonely. Um, Also, as well, if you do feel lonely, don't compromise on your beliefs. Don't feel like you need to change who you are in order to fit in, because you know you just may need to go and find your community. You just may need to go and find your group. Okay. What else was I going to say? Yeah. Sometimes if you're in a different setting, if you're outside of your usual routine, it can be difficult to make friends because you're not in your comfort zone. And so sometimes if you're in a new place, just take time to center yourself and get used to the area, get used to the people around you before you dive in and make friends. Um Yeah, so that's all really that I have to say on loneliness. I don't know if anybody has any questions that they want to put in the chat about any experiences that they've been through, or any questions that they want to bring up at all about loneliness, about how maybe they've been able to overcome loneliness, or any tips in what not to do when you're feeling lonely. Um, Let me see. What other points do I have? Um, so some people feel like they don't have a choice to be lonely because of maybe social anxiety. So if you do suffer from social anxiety, probably try and take things one day at a time. Don't pressure yourself. Just perhaps try going into new situations bit by bit and seeing how you cope, and probably have a plan of how of maybe have a plan of places you want to visit, or have a plan of things you want to do, or just have small goals that in time that you can be able to look back on and see how much that you've achieved. Also, some people may be lonely due to health crisis. And so some people with some long-term health conditions may not be able to be as may not be able to make friends as easily as other people due to the physical limitations. What can be helpful is interacting with people online, um, joining support groups, and just frequenting places with frequenting places with people with a joint interest is always helpful when you're trying to make new friends. Um, I'll also say as well that sometimes what people sometimes what people find is the less they try, the easier it becomes to make friends. Some people they barely try. Some people they just they barely want new friends and they're making lots of friends. Hello, Uraz Beaz. Beaz. Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. But yeah, so what some people find is that there'll be people that are barely even trying and they make friends really easily. And one of the key points is that if you just be yourself, like unapologetically, if you just be yourself, people are usually drawn to you. Trying to fit in and change who you are in order to impress people and make friends can backfire because there comes a point where you realize that people may not necessarily like you for who you are, but for who you've portrayed yourself to be. So so, what I would advise there is always try and just be yourself. Don't try and be like anybody else. So that when you do make friends, they're actually friends with you because of who you are and what your values are. Um, what I would always say is don't take rejection to heart, and don't try and measure how much people like you. Don't feel like if it's your birthday, the amount of people that respond to me, the amount of people that contact me, the amount of attention I get from people proves how much I'm loved. Because that's not always a measurement, and that's not always a sign of how loved somebody is. Even if you have one good friend, two good friends, that in itself is worth more than a whole crowd of people that that don't really want to know who you really are. So I just want to ask if there's anyone that wants to give any examples of feeling lonely and making friends. Um, Definitely try and become comfortable in who you are. Definitely try and learn how to enjoy your own company, and don't feel intimidated by being alone. Don't feel intimidated by comparing your private life to the public life of other people. So if anybody has anything to say, one moment, guys. Okay, so guys, I'm going to be going now. I'm going to be leaving now. I'm going to be leaving now. But what I will say is that if anybody is feeling lonely, if anybody is feeling like they need more friends, like try and reach out, try and try and make one new friend, or if you know anybody that needs help, try and reach out to help that person, because the more we think about other people, um, the more we think about other people, the easier it can become for us to become more appealing to people, and the more other people can be drawn to us. Right, so if there's anything else that anybody would like to say about feeling lonely or about making friends or anything. I would say, in my experience, when times when I have felt lonely or I have felt alone, I've just learned to embrace it, you know? I've just learned to embrace it because it is it is wise to be able to enjoy your own company, and it is wise to work on your own personality, and it is wise to just work on your own peace and happiness. It's not a good idea to always have to rely on being around people. It's a lot more enjoyable to be secure in yourself and work on your own self-esteem and work on your own character. Oh, Patrick Joy. And so, yeah, so if there's anything that anybody would like to ask at all, or anything at all, I'll be leaving you now. If anybody's got any questions, I'm just going to hang on for 5 minutes, and feel free to put your questions in the chat. So just to recap on the video today on loneliness, what I have said is, don't pressure yourself to try and fit in the main group. Don't pressure yourself to try and become friends with everybody, because you can lose yourself in doing that. And what can also happen is that you can start changing your values and your character just to fit in with different people. And then when you're with lots of different people, you don't know how to act because you're just so used to chopping and changing depending on who you're with. Also, I would say, don't compare your private life with the public lives of others. So, what people display in public isn't always the truth, and so be secure in who you are, in what state your personal life is in, because you can't always believe that what people what people portray themselves to be in public isn't always true. Please like my live. I'm trying to build up my watch hours. Please like my live. Um, Also, what I did say is, try not to fit in with everybody. Find your own community. Find people that make you feel comfortable, that make you feel relaxed, that make you feel like you belong. So you don't need to necessarily try and fit in somewhere. You can actually be patient, be persistent, and just, talk to different people until you find where you feel like you belong and where you feel most comfortable. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to change who you are, you know just so other people will talk to you. You can actually, go around and find out, where you fit in the most. um Also, don't try and make it obvious that you're feeling lonely. Sometimes the more you try and pressure people to be friends with you, it can push them away. So just be confident in who you are, and just try and make friends naturally. Reach out if anybody needs help. um Feel free to help in any way possible. And also, as well, what I did say is that when you are lonely, when you feel alone, sometimes you can be more vulnerable to exploitation, to be taken advantage of. So try not to make yourself vulnerable by allowing people to see just how much lonely you feel, and potentially being willing to do anything just to have friends and fit in. What I said as well is, try and find the root cause of your loneliness. Try and find out what the ultimate reasons are for your feeling lonely. So it may be low self esteem. It may be It just may be dissatisfaction. Another reason for feeling lonely is some people, they like any little thing they just cut their friends off. So for some people that are always falling out with their friends and having to make new ones, you know, that's a cue for you to decide on whether or not you have the right priorities in you know in being friends with people. You can't just keep cutting people off every time you have an argument. That's ridiculous. You know, you can't just keep cutting off all your friends for any little thing. Please like the live, that would be much appreciated. And thank you for joining my live today. Please like the live. Um, Also, what I did say is people with social anxiety may find it more difficult to make friends. People with social anxiety or health issues may feel isolated and very much alone. And what I will say is that you can reach out to at least one good person and see if you can create a friendship. It's always easier to build a friendship around a shared interest, um, rather than just to you know be be and then be a very intense person that's looking for friends. Sometimes building a friendship around a shared interest can be quite helpful. So if you both have you know a common interest, something that you both enjoy, something that you both like to do, or information that you're both looking for, sometimes that can be a good basis for friendship. Um, So some people are lonely, some people feel like they are alone. But what I will say is, you need to evaluate if you yourself, if you're a good friend, because as well as looking for good friends, we also need to make sure that we are good friends to other people. And so, if we're honest with ourselves and we look at ourselves, we can ask ourselves, am I somebody that people would want to be friends with? Am I somebody that people would like to be around? Am I a positive influence? Am I, do I have values that are similar to people around me? And so you yourself can measure whether or not, basically, if you were not yourself, would you want to be friends with you? Is what I'm saying. So, yeah, that's all I have on being alone, loneliness, and feeling lonely. Feel free to like the live. Thank you for joining the live. I'm trying to make up my watch hours. Yeah, so that's all I've got. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your attention. Please remember to like the live, and I'll see you another time. Thank you. Bye.